Hi, everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Canton podcast. Eric, do you kind of want to start us off with what we've been up to this week? We've had kind of an exciting week.
We've had a really awesome week, actually. We just got back from Miramar Beach, just outside Destin, Florida. It's about a 6-hour drive down. Really nice, mainly interstate, but just had a blast visiting family and whatnot.
Yeah, so if you're seeing the tan burn on my face, that is what that is from. We had an amazing time, and as much as I'm excited to talk about Canton this week, we just had such a nice little trip.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we played pickleball, we did various beach games, various board games.
Oh, yeah. We were board game maniacs this week. I don't know if any of you guys have played, like, Bounce Off or what was the one? Neanderthal Poetry?
Yeah, Neanderthal Poetry.
So much of that.
Your favorite was Mad Skills or Super Skills?
Super Skills. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Okay, if you are someone who cannot sit still for more than 5 minutes... me right here, play Super Skills, because it's such a fun, like, if you remember the show Minute to Win It, it's basically like 120 minute to win it game cards, which all use either some number of ping pong balls, a rope, 2 chopsticks, and like 10 solo cups. So you don't have to drag around a lot of stuff, but it has all of these like head-to-head mini game style things you can do. And I'm an extremely competitive person. I'll be honest, it's a flaw. It's, we're diving in. We're committing to it.
Yeah.
And it was such a fun way to like hang out with family and see where everyone excelled or didn't excel. It was good to see the spectrum.
It was really cool. And you have the solo challenges, and there's also co-op challenges within that where you need a partner for some of them. Like you have to go back to back and then somehow manage to throw a ping pong ball behind you that the other person catches.
Yeah, it is like a million things that you've never tried to do in your life. Like one of the games we played was you had to take like this plastic chopstick and use it almost like a billiard cue to send a ping pong ball into like a plastic cup. So I don't know who's naturally good at that, but you find out very quickly.
Yeah, no, it was a really good time. That was a fun little week.
Other than all of like the board games though, like I will say having that great of a beach town with really beautiful beaches and clear water 6 hours away was so nice. Like we spend so much time staying in Canton and working and living here that I almost forget how centrally located we are to some of those great vacation spots.
Absolutely. I mean, Canton itself is a little nexus, but Atlanta, at a larger picture, you have so many different interstates that just go right through 85, 75, 20. I mean, literally you can go anywhere you want. You can go straight down to Orlando on 75. You can go up to North Carolina following 85. It's really convenient and nice.
I love that. Like I always think about the road trips that I did as a kid with my family, like heading up all along that eastern coast. And the highway system here is so decently good that you can pretty much reach anywhere really quickly. And I know visiting your family in Louisiana, it's a straight shot over there too. So, I feel, as sad as I am to have a vacation over, I feel really lucky to live somewhere that has such great access to so many cool places. And I'm glad we got to visit one of them this week.
I completely agree. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, so I guess now that we are back home, we should talk a little bit about one of the segments that we always like to do, which is the best thing that we ate or drank around Canton this week. And I'll let you start out if you want.
Yeah, by all means. Even though it was really nice to be in Destin for a little bit, I gotta say, we went to a couple different, Latin American, Mexican food spots, and they were hit or miss. They were good, but I was missing my local spot, La Oaxaqueña, over there next to the Ingalls on Merida Highway. Oh, man. Excellent food. I get the sopes, the chorizo sopes, really great, and extremely affordable. It's like $2 for a sope. Yeah. My gosh. Can't beat that.
Their burritos are also really good. Like, I will say it was a little bit of an intimidating place to me for a while. It's one of those places where you definitely want to walk in and you want to speak Spanish.
It's very authentic.
To get, which is amazing, right? You're going to get the best food ever. But finally, I was like, I really want a burrito. So the last time we went in, the burritos were humongous.
They're huge.
Like, so big.
They're like the size of my forearm.
Yeah, it was so good. Yeah. But it's funny that you mentioned your local spot, because I was going to say the same thing. As much as I enjoyed all of the food that we had in Destin, and we had some really, really good food. us going out to Mexican twice made me just be like, oh, I miss La Paria so much. Like, I want my order at La Paria, which is usually the Tampequeña steak. What I love about that one is that it's so I don't love this part. It's a little bit pricey, but it comes with a ton of food. You've got like a piece of steak like that big, I feel like, and then it comes with I think 1 or 2 cheese enchiladas. It comes with guacamole. It comes with beans. It comes with rice.
Absolutely.
And so if you are hungry or if you want 2 meals out of it, you can absolutely do that. And they cook it so well every time. The flavors are so good. I can't tell you how many times I have looked up online, like, dupe Tampequeña steak. And then it's like slow roast things for 8 hours. And I'm like, okay, well, no. I guess we're just going to go to La Paria again. But exactly. I definitely miss La Paria. And then I actually, you're so right about La Oaxaqueña. It's delicious. Like, that's a really good spot.
It's great stuff. And it's right next to a little tiendita. So basically like a Latin American sort of grocery store. Yeah. And you can pick up fun drinks there. Yeah. You can pick up like a fun juice. I restock my hot sauces when I go by.
And I will say, as someone who, like, when I was first figuring out where he was even talking about when we first started dating, when you look up La Oaxaqueña, there are There's places that are named that. One of them is close to like the laundromat and the store in like the part of downtown Canton by the gas station
south
and
of downtown
whatever.
Canton.
That's not the one we're talking about. We haven't been there actually. It could be fantastic, but we haven't gone.
We're talking about the one to the north of
in the Ingalls parking lot.
Ingalls area.
Close to like what else is around
There's
there?
a Mr.
Papa
Car
John's
Wash.
and stuff.
There's stuff.
So, and the Staples. The Staples as well. So that's the one we're talking about. If you want really good, pretty affordable Mexican food that's super authentic, absolutely stop by there.
Great stuff.
We're so lucky to have like a great little hole in the wall spot. And I love that they've kept the prices affordable. You can get a ton of food. Like, I think we were going to go there with my family the other day, and we could have fed everyone for like $30 or something like that, with like everyone having a ton of food.
There's like 4 to 6 people going.
If you're looking for like a budget date night or a budget like grab food for the whole family, but you really don't want to cook, that's a really good place to stop by for really fantastic food.
And if you like spicy things, I recommend the red sauce to go on stuff. Oh my gosh.
I don't, because I'm afraid of it. If you have anything, like if you have a mouth like mine, don't do it. But if you love spicy stuff, definitely listen to him. He's got pretty good taste in hot sauce from what I've heard.
I like to think.
I don't dare to try his his favorite ones, but what kinds, like, you like more habanero based sauces,
I like
right?
more habanero, for sure. I mean, I've recently actually found a couple like jalapeno ones that I like, but
that surprises me. For a long time you were super anti-jalapeno.
I still probably am in that camp, but you know.
You're still a hater, jalapeno hater.
I'm trying to grow as a person.
I love that for you. Expand the palate. Okay, well, I guess the other thing that we should kind of swing into is talking about what this podcast is sort of all about. What sort of real estate advice do we feel people should hear that we can help out with this week?
Absolutely.
And so I think, do you want to get that one started, or do you want me to?
I think sequentially it makes sense for you to get it started.
Okay. Yeah, we planned out this segment a little bit ahead of time, and so my little part's going to lead into his. So I guess I'll start first. I was working with a first-time home buyer this week, and we were having a long conversation on the phone. They're about a year out. So this conversation was about A, what kind of money do you need to save up? B, what even is like a loan on a home? How do you go about doing that? And then like the final thing we talked about was, how do you choose a good home online when all this professional photography makes every home look amazing? Like, what kinds of things can you look for on Zillow to be like, oh, this is a great home, or ooh, that's kind of a red flag? So I taught my buyer a little bit how to look at a home online like a real estate agent.
Okay.
And so when we were talking, a few of the things that that I communicated to him and that I also want to communicate to you as viewers, not you know.
Well, I always enjoy a refresher, you know.
But I want to start out by saying days on market is key. Always look at days on market. In the market that we're in right now, I expect most homes to sell, most great homes to sell in between 5 and about 25 days.
And what do you mean by a great home?
A great home meaning it's priced well for the condition it's in. There aren't any huge red flags where when you drive up you go, ooh, I understand why they didn't take a picture of that one. Or like weird condition issues or smells. Like a great home is one that if you see 10 homes in a day, that's going to be the one that you choose in your price range because it's got a great layout, condition, location, et cetera, et cetera. So A home that's a great home will likely sell right now in between around 5 and 25 days.
Easy,
Depending on the price range, of course.
And
Like the more
location.
expensive ones will probably be closer to 25, and the less expensive ones probably closer to 5.
Yeah.
If you look at days on market and you see 200 or even 95 or
Yeah.
150,
Yeah.
and that seems strange for your market,
Yeah.
that immediately is a red flag to me going, oh, why hasn't anyone else picked this up yet?
For sure.
So always look at days on market first. Another thing, while you're in that little area on Zillow or Redfin or wherever,
Yeah.
you're looking at these homes, there are so many
There's a lot of different
websites.
portals.
You can go to homesbyvalerie.com if you want. Just shameless plug here. But
Link in the description.
link in the description. But whatever site you choose to use, I honestly believe you get pretty much the same information. But you should look at, in addition to days on market, you should look at how many saves the home has had, if they're publicly listing that information on the site. For a great home, again, I'm expecting to see at least 50 and up to around 200 if it's been on the market for at least like 6 days or something like that. That's a decently healthy amount. Beyond that information, you should scroll all the way to the bottom to look at the price history, see how many price decreases they've made, and see if it recently sold for a significantly lower amount of money to find out if it's a flip.
Exactly.
That's especially useful if you look at the home and the home is empty in photos, or it has that weird grainy furniture that you can tell has been virtually staged.
Yeah.
That's a huge choice of flippers because it doesn't cost as much money to physically stage the home, but it still gives people an idea of how you could lay it out. So look at price history, look at days on market, look at how many saves, and then as you're looking through the pictures, you should always look for what rooms are missing.
Yeah.
If for some reason there's a really, they don't have all the bedrooms or they don't have all the bathrooms
Yeah.
or there's a basement and they're not showing it.
Exactly.
Why? Think about that sort of question if you can. The other thing is to look at doorways, see if there are weird cracks.
Yeah.
Look at carpets, see if there are strange stains. Look at walls, see if you've got kind of odd paint textures.
And this is all in the pictures.
Yeah, this is all from before you even have to go out to the house. And look at the roof. See if it's got kind of flipped up shingles and weird stuff, or if the siding has issues. All of these things could save you time, having to go out to a house.
For sure.
Or it can just give you an idea of, oh, that's why this is priced this way.
Exactly.
You're going to have to use this as a fixer-upper. So once you've done that part, we can transition into the part that I know you're going to talk about.
Exactly. So say you've done all this homework already, you've seen the house, the pictures look good enough, or maybe they're ambiguous enough that you want to go and spend your time actually viewing it and walking it. I'm going to now talk about that part.
Yeah, love that for you. Okay, fantastic.
All right. So basically, the observations should start when you start getting about a mile, 2 miles out from the actual house. So maybe look around for various grocery stores and, just see if the area has been slated for, maybe there's a huge cleared section that a development is going to go into, and that's going to cause traffic to go up or things of that nature.
Or value to go up.
Or value to go up.
Yeah.
Both sides of the coin. Just being cognizant of your surroundings as you're going to the home itself. Next, once you're pulling up to the home, a couple of things I try and notice are the driveway. Look for cracks. Look for the steepness. Look for obvious signs of whenever there's a downpour, how the drainage flows. Because you want to know those things because they're not going to happen every single day, right?
Yep.
They're only going to happen maybe once you're in the home and you're experiencing it.
Yeah.
So as much information and knowledge as you can absorb as you're going, be a sponge.
Yeah.
Like Kate said earlier, look at the shingles on the roof. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to see in photos, but in person you should be able to see if there's a couple missing shingles, if you can get a good enough angle on it, and that way if you need to hire a roofing consultant to go out and see the home during due diligence if you want to put an offer on the home.
Yep.
Now let's go ahead and walk into the house itself. Besides the door itself that you're going to be walking through, I would also recommend looking at the porch, if there is a porch, seeing any wood rot, any chip paint, that sort of things, because it could be indicative of something larger.
Yeah.
Moving into the home itself, let's look at the roof or ceilings more so.
Yeah. Ceilings are a big one.
Ceilings
Absolutely.
are big because they can either be freshly painted because there was some sort of reason to paint it, or there's just obvious water stains.
Yep.
And then if there's water stains, there's going to be something else you want to know about that.
Issues or whatever.
And oftentimes in the seller's property disclosure, if there is one for a property, they'll have addressed it. You know, maybe there was a leak 2 years ago that they fixed and they just hadn't, you know, taken the time to actually paint the ceiling.
You say oftentimes, though, I will say many of the houses I walk through, especially if they're investor owned or if, you know,
if they're
someone's passed
investor-owned,
away
for sure.
or anything, a lot of times people just don't know that much about their
That is
houses.
true.
They're not even necessarily trying to be like secretive about what's going wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of people just don't know.
No, that's a great point.
And so you want to absolutely go beyond the property disclosure and use your own eyes before
Exactly.
you go out and spend money on an inspection to see what is wrong with this house.
Absolutely.
Like, I definitely need to be cognizant about this. Let's warn the inspector about this.
That's a great point. Or oftentimes they'll even attribute one thing to another situation. And because, I mean, no one's necessarily a professional.
Yeah, we're not living in our
that.
attics most of the time, right? So we don't necessarily know what's going on up there or anything like that. I think all of those are really good points. And again, like doubling down on looking up at ceilings, that's a really important
I would
one
also
for leaks.
double down on what you said earlier as far as looking for cracks on the corners of doorways and basically, you know, the meaning of joints.
Yeah.
Because that can be indicative of potentially settling. You know, maybe it's no big deal, but it could be, you know, a sign of something larger, like a foundation issue.
And I will put the disclaimer of we are not inspectors. We're not trained in that way, but we do know that there are things that if we see them, we always recommend, hey, have the inspector check this out for sure when they're out there. And we always try to attend inspections and learn as much as we can. That will never make us qualified inspectors.
I'm kind of basically highlighting what we are looking at while you're enjoying
the layout, right?
While you're enjoying the layout, thinking about where you're going to put your couch, where your kids are going to sleep, all those sorts of things.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. And then the other thing I will say that I should have mentioned on mine that you were so right is the porch to me is often very indicative of how often a homeowner chooses to do maintenance on their home, right? As long as a porch doesn't fall down, a lot of owners will be like, it's fine. It's working great.
Right.
Like grandma hasn't stepped through any planks yet, so we're all set.
Yippee for that.
Yippee for grandma. But other homeowners who are very meticulous, where everything's going to be done, their porches are going to be gleaming, ready, repaired. Like I love seeing a beautifully maintained porch because it makes me trust the seller a lot more, to be honest. It's just one of those weird things where it's just to me indicative of, okay, this person really loves their home. It's like to me that's the equivalent of someone who gets out and mows their lawn like 3 times a week and fertilizes it. Like it's just a little extra touch that makes me go, okay, you've got passion for this home.
For sure. So. And keeping an eye out for if there's handrails.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
For various loan eligibilities, as well as if there's
just
any
a safety hazard
as well. And if there's any wood in direct contact with the soil, because that'll come up on a termite flag, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think all those are really good. Are there any other things that you usually like to look at?
I mean, things you can't see in a photo would be the smell of the home.
Oh, absolutely. Always lead with your nose.
Yes.
There have been so many deals that I have thought would be the perfect match for my client, and then we walk in and like walk right back out.
Yes.
The biggest smells are smoke issues, pet issues, moldy smelling houses.
Some microbial growth going on.
Yeah, exactly. Things like that are immediately going to be turnoffs for buyers. So if you're a seller and you're looking to sell your home, make sure your house doesn't stink. Like get your honest friends in there and go, hey, does my house smell like my cat's?
Because it is hard if you're living in the home.
You get adapted to it.
You get adjusted to it. And,
absolutely.
And you don't necessarily notice smells that other people would when they're walking in.
Yeah.
And, you know, a realtor can be brutally honest with you too, right?
Yeah. The best agents will be very honest in a kind way. But they're going to, so listen to your agents. Like if they tell you, hey, this is going to knock like $50,000 off of the potential selling price of your home if we don't fix this.
Yeah.
Fix it. Put your feelings aside if you can. I know it feels a little bit bad for someone to come into the house that you call home and go, it smells bad in here. But it's so much better for you to be able to have time to address that than to have everyone think that when they walk through the door and you leave money on the table.
Leaving money on the table, you're feeling bad because you didn't do it in the first place. And oftentimes it's as simple as going to Home Depot, getting one of those like odor absorbing buckets,
Yeah.
and then just putting it out in a few spots.
Or even just really cleaning the floors and walls. Like there are all sorts of tricks that you
There's
can
all
do
sorts of things.
that aren't covering up a smell,
Yes.
but are truly fixing it. So
Yeah, exactly.
just advice there, and keeping in mind
Completely
that all
true.
of the advice I had about seeing them online, you can't see a smell.
You can't
so
see a
make
smell.
sure that you at least, if you're ever buying a house, from across the country,
Yep.
have someone walk inside. Never just buy a house without
never
ever
buy
seeing it.
a house without walking into it. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's the worst. That makes me so anxious
Yeah.
to even think about, because every house
I mean,
looks
if you can
so
avoid it,
perfect
right?
online,
Yeah.
right? For the most part. I mean, once you get past those things I was talking about, and then you walk in and you're like, oh, okay, I get it now, right?
Yeah.
Like I get why it's priced this way.
Exactly.
So, okay, the next thing I wanted us to kind of talk about is we're at the end of, July right now as we're recording this podcast, and we're not ready for fall yet, but
No.
we're kind of headed in there. And I
Yes.
sort of wanted us to chat a little bit about what should buyers and sellers expect
Exactly.
as we're seeing a shifting of the seasons.
Yeah. So I would say generally you can expect buyers' bargaining power to increase as we
Agreed.
get more into winter,
Yep.
and sellers to have to give more concessions.
Yeah, I will absolutely say that even now, late July, as people and families are starting to go back to school,
Yes.
we're seeing a few fewer buyers. And
Yeah.
so we're seeing more price decreases.
Yes.
We're seeing more sellers with extended days on market. I'm
Yeah.
seeing more closer to that 50, 60-day mark that are
Yeah.
good houses, but they priced at spring prices. And
Yes.
now here we are. Oops, they didn't sell during the height of the
Yeah.
market. And so they are making price adjustments or offering incentives and things like that.
Exactly true. Exactly true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say as we get closer to the holidays, people just don't necessarily want to uproot.
Yeah.
They want to go ahead and winter, bunker down, all that stuff.
Which will also, it always kind of, we said
Yeah.
that there are fewer buyers and fewer sellers. Like there are fewer sellers as well, right? Inventory tends to go down
absolutely.
in late fall and winter because it's a less convenient time to move.
Exactly.
But you are, as a buyer, I will say it's a really good time to be a buyer during that time, because even though the lower inventory
Yeah.
might limit your options a little bit, the sellers who want to sell during that time,
Exactly.
like the sellers
They
who
want
put
to
their
sell.
home on the market during Thanksgiving, during Christmas, during, whatever holidays they
They're
celebrate,
needing to
they're
move.
motivated,
Yes.
right? No one wants to do that
In
unless
that
they
time of
truly
year.
are ready to move. So
Exactly.
it's a great time to get a deal as a buyer if you need your closing costs covered,
Yeah.
if you really need something that's slightly above your price range
Yeah.
and you want to get a deal on it. We're headed into the time where
Yeah.
it's your era.
Right.
And I will also say, this year's a little bit different. We're headed into an election year. That always
Yeah.
kind of freaks people out anyway.
People start clutching their wallets a little bit more during an election cycle.
Exactly. So we may see, even beyond the typical trends
Yeah.
we're talking about, there's probably going to be a little bit of flux, and we'll have
Yeah.
to see. I will say,
Absolutely
no
true.
matter who wins, 50% of people always freak out, and that's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of the way of the world.
Yeah.
And then so far we've always figured it back out again. You
Right.
know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's just the other element that we could see potential shifts because of coming
Yeah.
up. That and with the lawsuit and everything coming
Yeah.
up on the real estate side of things.
Exactly.
We're headed for a month of probably some change where things
Yeah.
settle back in. People are figuring things out, but overall, people will still
Yep.
need to buy. People will still need to sell.
Yep.
And they're still going to be taking their price cues from homes that have sold before.
100%.
They're still going to be, talking with their lender and qualifying for the same amount they would have qualified for 2 months ago.
Yep.
So the world goes round and round, and it's all going to be okay.
Yep. Time marches forward.
Yes, it does. I think that's about it as far as real estate advice
Yeah.
that I had this week. Is there anything else you want to kind of chime in with and mention, or do you feel like we covered everything we wanted to?
I feel like we covered a lot of the good stuff, honestly.
Okay, good. Then we get into my next favorite after all the food. Food's the way to my heart, but I also love a good date night. And so
Yeah.
our next segment we're going to talk about is our typical, what is a good date night recommendation that you
All
have for
right.
people around Canton this
For
week?
sure. I think you should go first on this one.
Okay, I can go first. So, when we were down in Destin, we actually signed up for a pickleball round
Yeah.
robin, and I can't remember if we've talked about this on the podcast before, but we love pickleball. I am a tennis player by nature.
Yep.
I've played pretty much my whole life. I'm, my name's Kate. I'm a tennis addict. I love tennis all the time.
Yep.
But what I've actually started to lean into is pickleball because it feels so much more accessible. We can play with friends. We can
really
play with
nice.
each other without you having the years and years and years
Yep.
of tennis experience. And they actually have some pickleball drills and quick start classes
Yeah.
at County Askew Park on Wednesdays in Canton, Georgia.
Yeah.
And that's like 5 minutes from our house. So it's the
It's
perfect
really
location
convenient.
for us. But even if it's a little bit further, it
Yeah.
seems like it's a fun group of people.
Yeah.
Everyone seems really nice. We've only watched from afar. We've been there Wednesday nights just playing the two of us, and we
Yeah.
see all the fun they're having beside us, and I want to sign up. It's not something we've done yet, but I'm so ready to. It's
All
held
right.
by Top Pickleball.
Yeah.
They also run Top Tennis in Woodstock.
Yes.
So they're a great reputable company. I really love working with them, and I think that would be a really, really fun date night that I think we should do next week, to be honest, if
All
you're
right.
up for it.
Consider it done.
I'm ready to go kick some pickleball butt.
Right.
And hopefully not get my ego checked.
All right. I don't know. I feel like you're pretty good.
Well, we'll see. We did pretty well in the Destin
do
one.
pretty well
We
in the
didn't
Destin
embarrass
one.
ourselves, so I was pretty proud of us. We had never played against
Yeah.
anyone other than like immediate friends or family.
Exactly.
So I was a little nervous, like to see if we
but you
thought
did
we were
great.
decent, and then we weren't. But we did pretty well.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
held our own. We represented Canton, Georgia well.
We
so.
did well. Kate did a little bit better, but
Well, it was fine. We only had 4 courts. So
Yeah.
Eric and I started at the bottom court, and then it was basically like if you win as a partnership, you move up to the next court and swap partners with the couple that just lost on the 3rd court.
the
and
classic
moved
split
down.
and swap.
So then you swap partners. So
Yep.
we only played together that one time.
Yep.
And then we both pretty much moved up the ranks pretty
Exactly.
well. I was proud of us.
We did great.
Good
We did
job.
great.
Go Valors.
Go Valors.
What about your date night idea? What do you recommend this week if people are looking for something fun to do and spend some time together?
So continuing in the kind of outdoor, getting fresh air vein, I think going on a hike to Amicalola Falls,
Oh, that's a good one.
it's a really great spot. It's about a 40-minute drive from Canton, depending on what part of Canton you're in. And it's a really great spot. They have an awesome welcome center that has a couple animals in it, which is really cool,
They have
honestly.
like 8 snakes.
They had like 8 snakes and like a couple of birds and stuff.
One of the snakes when we were there was doing
Yep.
that whole like thing from the Harry Potter movie, where it was slithering up like the side of it. So they were pretty active.
Yeah.
They seemed happy. They seemed healthy. They seemed,
Yeah.
very like
It was
lively.
really awesome.
It's pretty cool.
My favorite part of the Amicalola experience, if you will, is the 600 plus flight of stairs that you're going up.
My least favorite part, but we did have fun. I say least favorite part, but we had a lot of fun.
It's
when
a
we
great
did it.
time. It's a little challenge. You get to see a beautiful waterfall.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's an awesome experience altogether for date night or to go with some friends.
Just leave yourself time for breaks. I will say,
Yes.
like, you don't realize how exhausting it is to
Yeah.
walk up 600 flights of stairs until A, you get halfway up, and then B, you have to go back down them.
Yeah.
So leave yourself enough energy in the tank to go back down. And I will also say, I loved it. We had such a nice
Yeah.
time. But if you don't like heights, kind of prepare yourself because
Yeah,
the
that is true.
stairs are made of like a grated
Yeah, it's
metal.
a metal grate.
So you can see through them. And so
For the
as you're
experience,
getting very tired and marching up, 600 flights of stairs and looking down at your
Yeah.
feet to make sure you don't miss a step, you start to see the ground getting further and further away.
So that's
and
why you take at least one brave friend that you can all latch to.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I still had a fantastic time in spite of the few moments of fear that I did have. I'm really glad we went. I would totally go again.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So for context, we did go recently.
Yeah,
so that's why it was on my radar.
Yeah, we went like a month ago, and it really was a great time. And keep in mind, we went during the dead of summer.
Oh
and
my gosh.
It was hot, but it has a decent amount of tree covering, and
Yeah.
you're right by the waterfall. So
Yeah.
of all of the summer activities you can do, you will be drenched, but you won't be as like sweaty, awful,
And
dying
honestly,
hot as maybe playing pickleball.
For being right next to a waterfall, there was a lot of tree cover.
Yeah, it was really
honestly.
nice.
Yeah.
Actually, like truly, as far as temperature
Yeah.
goes, if you're going to go on a hike or spend a lot
Yep.
of time outside, that's the kind of thing to do that's going to keep you relatively cool. So,
Yeah, I think it's a great time.
good idea. That was a really good one.
All right. So we're going into this last segment.
Oh gosh, the one that always makes me the most nervous.
Good old couples trivia. I think you went first last time. I can go first this time if you want.
Sure, let's get it out of the way.
All right. So the theme or the genre of or the questions this week is going to be incorporating family.
Yeah,
right?
we've decided that like going forward, or at least most weeks when we have our
Yeah.
logistics together, we're going to like set a theme and then we have to come up with questions within that theme so that we kind of have like a focus point for that week. So this one, like he said, is family.
Yeah,
Pretty
yep.
open-ended category. So we'll see.
So it'll be a good one. So my easy question, are you ready,
Sure.
Catherine?
The easy one always stresses me out the most.
No,
Okay.
it's good. In which states do my sisters live in?
Okay, this one I do have. So Stephanie lives in Colorado and Megan lives in California.
Correct. Ding, 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 winner.
Though I feel like they've also lived all over the place.
They've gone all over the place. I mean,
it was probably a medium level question.
they've lived in Honduras. They've lived in
They lived in Mexico for a while too,
for
right?
a while. They've gone around. They're anthropologists, archaeologists, following their own beat of their own drums. You know.
Yeah,
They're
very
awesome.
cool. Yeah, very, very cool. But yes, got that one right.
Yeah.
Very nice.
All right.
What's the next one?
So the next
We're gonna
one.
have to make it a little harder than that.
Well, I don't know. This one's kind of like a medium easy one,
oh
right?
no. Okay.
In my family, specifically my mom's side of the family,
Uh-huh.
what is our collective favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is correct.
Yes. Okay, good. I got nervous for a second, but I remember that when you guys used to all celebrate Thanksgiving, you would have a huge family reunion
Yep.
get together. And when I say huge, I don't know if we
It's
talked about
huge.
how big Eric's family is on here.
Yeah.
It's huge. How
It's
many brothers?
huge.
This probably should have been a trivia question.
Well, it might be the next
is it
one.
is it how many brothers your mom has?
Yes.
Oh darn it! Oh gosh. Okay. Well, we'll talk about
We'll
this
talk
after
about
the
it
next question.
momentarily.
Then. Okay, I need to start counting.
All right.
Is that actually the next question?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So the next question, the hard one here, is going to be how many brothers does my mother have?
Okay.
And what, for bonus points, name them.
Okay. So we have Jopie, who we just went on vacation with.
Yes.
We have.
And how many kids does he have?
No, we're not
Okay,
doing
okay,
that.
okay.
We're
We
not
won't-
doing
we won't
that.
go that far.
I will never stop talking if we start talking about how
All right,
many
all
brothers
right.
and how many kids.
We'll cut
or
that
whatever.
addendum.
Okay, so we've got Jopie, who we just went on vacation with,
Yes.
and then we've got David, who
Yes.
lives in Alabama,
Yeah.
and then we've got Mark,
Yeah.
who lives in Louisiana,
Yeah.
and we've got Jimbo, who
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
lives in Louisiana, and then we've got Danny, who passed away
Yeah.
last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah,
now,
yeah, February
who used to
21.
live in Georgia. Man, I love Danny.
He
I'm
was
so
great.
sad he's not around anymore. He was a really cool dude.
Yeah.
And then I know they had another sibling when they were young who
Yeah.
passed away, but
Do
I
you
don't know.
their name. Is the middle name of all of Jimbo's children?
I'm sorry, Brandon, Steven, everyone.
Yeah. Or all the men, anyways.
Gosh, I don't know. That's too deep in the family lore for me, I'm afraid. All I know is that he passed away.
It's actually Stephen.
Steven. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I even said
And
the
that's
name
not their
out
middle
loud
names.
then.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
That's
So
funny.
it was a false clue. False clue.
We both failed your family trivia. But
Yeah.
did I miss anyone or did I get everyone? I'm trying to think of anyone else I could have missed out on.
You got Jopie, Jimbo, Mark, Danny, Steven, and David.
Yes, good. Okay, well,
Yep.
I did pretty
and
well
all of
then.
them have, just for context, have like at least 5 kids.
I think so. And then Jessica and Jimbo have what, 11?
They have 11 kids.
So
That's why Thanksgiving was so much fun.
it's so much fun. Like, I have a pretty small family,
Yeah.
and marrying into such a huge family has
Yeah.
been amazing. Like, they have such fun holidays, and like everyone's goofing off, and there were so many people our age
Yeah.
that it just makes it so exciting.
It was so wild when Kate told me she had 2 cousins total.
Yeah.
Because I have 2 sisters.
Yeah, literally, I went from like that kind of family
Yeah.
to, oh yeah, there are 100 of us here right now.
We had enough people to get up to some shenanigans, let me tell you. Like, we would go to Disney World, and my cousin Casey would dress up as Peter Pan, and we'd form like a fake kind of line to get autographs. And
Oh my
then we just had
gosh.
random people joining in. We got up to some
Such
mischief.
menaces.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had such a nice time with your family on this trip too, and it always reminds me just how goofy. Like, you got to keep 2 eyes on
Yeah.
the Percivals, right? Like, otherwise there can be some spades cheating and stuff like
What are you
that.
talking about?
But in a fun, lovable way.
Absolutely.
Like, I love your family so much. I couldn't feel luckier to
All
have
right.
married into such a good one.
Hit me with yours.
Okay, I went kind of a different direction with some of these, so we'll see if you know them.
Golly.
And
Let's
I
try.
definitely did a poor job ranking how easy to hard my questions were. So my easy one may actually be the hardest. Let's start with it. So,
All right.
who was Anna's favorite musician growing up that she learned about from Uncle Chris?
I'm going to go with good old Weird Al Yankovic.
That is exactly right. It's so funny because I feel like there are, you know how, I don't know if everyone else's brain works this way, but for me, when I think of someone and like growing up with them or whatever, when I think of Anna, I think of like 4 different things. And one of the main things is that she loved Weird Al so much growing up. Like the Yoda song and stuff like that. Like it was like a soundtrack of my childhood. So I just think that's so funny.
That's a good one. Good one.
Okay.
All right, one
good
down.
job. I'm impressed that you knew that.
Right.
Okay. The second one. Can you name all of my aunts and uncles?
All right. So you have your Uncle Chris.
Yes.
Would I also count Aunt Bo?
You can. Yeah, sure. That's fine.
All right. You have your Aunt Jennifer.
Uh-huh.
Oh, gosh. Your dad's sister is Aunt Christy.
Yes, you're right.
All right.
And then my mom has the 2 bonus brothers.
Yeah, has the bonus brothers.
That are kind of the age of cousins.
Oh, golly. What are their names? Bobby and Tommy?
Yes.
All right.
And then who's Bobby married to? This is the hardest one because we haven't seen them in a while. Yes, you did great. So, gold star for Eric.
Whew.
Shout out to all my family out there if you're watching this. I talk about you enough that my husband knows you.
Let's go.
There we go. Very nicely done. Okay, then the final question, a little bit of parent lore we're about to drop here. How did my parents meet?
Oh,
dun, dun, dun.
So I know their first date was at Whitewater.
Yes. Or Six Flags. I can never remember, but one of those.
It was Whitewater.
Okay, I'm sure you're right.
Because like your mom was a lifeguard there and like...
Okay, so you know all of that. That's good.
I know that part.
Yep.
Where they met.
Yep.
Was it like a party or something that one of the friends put on? It was in college.
I don't think so. So...
I don't actually know this one.
To be completely fair, the reason I ranked this one as hard is because I don't actually know which of 2 scenarios it is. I would have taken either one. Number 1, my mom was actually a photographer in college for the newspaper, and she took a picture of my dad running a race for the college. So there's a picture that she took of him before they ever met where he's like, winning the race or running or maybe I'm over exaggerating the like beauty of that shot. Maybe it was just a sweaty random shot. Who knows? But
he was passing Lance Armstrong on the left.
Oh yeah, you know. So it's either that one or he was actually the roommate of one of my mom's friends in college.
That's what I thought. She went
to go like I think she like stayed at the house one time to shower or whatever, and then on her way out she met him and they like connected or whatever.
I think it was that.
That seems right. I think that was more of when they're like meet cute.
Yeah.
And then the one before is like, whoa, we knew each other all along. You know? But yeah, good job. I would give you like a third of a point for that. Right. You knew it was college.
So you have an immaculate record still, and I have
so true. No, I missed one on the very first podcast we did, I think.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, I only got close. I got about as close to that one as you got to.
Oh, was it all like the pets?
Yes.
All the pets I had?
It was the dang pets. You have too many pets.
It's fine. We're both great.
I know. We should start keeping a running tally, though. My competitive side says, make it a competition. But anyway, that's about all we've got for this week. Thank you for joining in again to this episode of the Canton podcast. If you're looking for a realtor in the Canton area, we would love to help you make the process super clean and easy. And if you're just looking for a Canton expert, we're happy to help with that too.
Absolutely.
We love recommending delicious food, delicious, I guess that's about it. We love delicious food.
Well, delicious food, but also activities. Yeah, there you go.
The fact that I went with delicious twice was
delicious activities. That can be fun too. Delicious activities.
Yeah, feeling poetic.
Sounds
today.
like a fondue situation.
But anyway, if you want any sort of advice, please feel free to reach out, and we look forward to talking with you guys again in the next one.
Absolutely.
Have a good one.
See you guys there.